So, back in week 4, you helped talk Matt into saving Jag from eviction. And 9 weeks later, they end up winning the HOH and veto that led to your eviction. How do you look back on that decision and how both of their journeys have been in the season so far?
I just wish I would have forced or used more force with Matt and not to use his power to save Jag. I kind of soft shoed around that issue because I felt like no matter what I said, Matt was going to use his power to save Jag, and I did not want to have to deal with that on the back end when Matt shared with Jag that I did not want him to save him. Maybe because Matt is a little more fragile. If I pushed a little harder, if I came up with reasons why he shouldn't save Jag, or even implied that other people were going to be taking a shot at him, that might have made things differently. I mean, different. So I wish I would have tried a little harder to stop that from occurring.
So you and Felicia connected from the very first night, and though you were tight personally, you did have your occasional lows, like when she found out that you attempted to get her evicted, and when you were told that she had spilled information that you had told her to Matt and Jag. Talk to me about your relationship and how you view your dynamic over the season.
Uh, Felicia and I were like um, the odd couple, right? In the old school odd couple, Felix and Oscar, because Felicia knew everything, and regardless of what experience I had or what information I had from those experiences, actually living them, Felicia still knew more about it than I did. So it was kind of like pick your poison. Do I want to fight this fight with Felicia over how I make my bacon that I've been making for 30 years, or do I just want to let it go? Also, I felt like Felicia was constantly undermining me, constantly stabbing me in the back. And even with all of that, I still was a good friend to Felicia. And that's kind of my downfall. Like, once we connect, I try to maintain that relationship, even sometimes to my detriment. And that's what happened with Felicia and I.
You played, of course, alongside your son, Jared, and through 58 days, you watched him get in a showmance, get in fights, and ultimately get evicted. Talk about the pros and cons of playing this game with family and how much that changed the way you approach the house overall.
The pros of playing with family is that comfort from home. There's a level of realness that cannot be bought in these games with strangers. No matter how you connect with them, there's no comparison to actually having that real trust and real love from home. That's the pro. The con is having to work around that and having to work around their game, and how it being a family member and seeing other contestants maybe speak badly about that person, it affects you and it affects your game. Their game affects your game. Whereas when you play by yourself, it's all about you. It's what's best for you. You don't really have to consider what's best for another person in the game unless it's your ally. And even with that, it's only if it benefits you. When it's your family member, whether it benefits you or not, you kind of try to do what's best for their game, which could be harmful to your game.
So you were in control for the first half of the season. You were in the hub at the center of the house and many different alliances. Then it all gets suddenly turned when you lost Izzy and Jared right after one another. Talk about dealing with going from the top of the house to the bottom and how you dealt with that both strategically and emotionally.
Oh Lord, losing Izzy and Jared back to back was really hard for me. And I just had to go into stealth mode. It was like being a four-star general caught behind enemy lines. Do you come out blazing at all enemies knowing that you're going to lose? Or do you blend in and become a local and have those enemies now become friends, all while you're easing your way to the border to friendlier territory? And that's kind of what I had to do. I had, once Izzy and Jared left, I had to disappear into the background and become one of the locals so that the locals could then help me inch my way to the border, which is the end of this game.
Finally, give me your rapid fire thoughts on each of the remaining house guests, starting with Bowie Jane.
Bowie Jane, a breeze in the wind, because Bowie Jane is going to go wherever the power goes and she's going to fly wherever the wind takes her. Bowie Jane has really made no real decisions of her own, like she says in her own way, whatever the house wants. So I would just confer with the house before I even spoke to Bowie Jane to know what she was going to do.
Felicia.
Hygienically challenged. Felicia don't even know that she's hygienically challenged, and I will never eat another thing that Felicia prepares because I see how she prepares it right in front of my eyes, so I could just imagine when I ain't there.
Jag.
Jag, uh, snake, slithering, slimy, genius, but snake.
And finally, Matt.
Uh, Matt. Soft, strong and soft at the same time. Matt is an Olympian, but Matt crumbles under pressure. And I know that and knew that, but I still love Matt.